Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about something. Yes, it's very personal, but I've never been one to keep things to myself per se. I've always wanted to share my experiences. I've always referred to myself as an open book. With something like this, I feel like it's all the more reason to be an open book. Today I'm going to be telling you guys my miscarriage story. It is March right now. I had a miscarriage in December, so it has been about 3 months, I guess, and I just want to share that whole story with y'all. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. I got married in January of 2019 to my husband Cole, and when we got married, my husband wanted to wait about 2 years, and for me, I knew that I wanted to be a mom very soon. Like, it's just something that I've always wanted. Other people grow up and want to be a doctor or a photographer, an astronaut, whatever. Like, I wanted to be a mom. That was my thing growing up. After about 6 months of marriage, I guess, he was like, okay, let's just see what happens. So we weren't trying, but we also weren't not trying. You get what I'm saying? So we weren't preventing a pregnancy from happening. And that was in July, August, September, October. I got my period, and this was 3 months of, like it could possibly happen and it wasn't happening. So I was just kind of like, okay, like whatever, it's not time, it's not the right time for it. We trust that God will help us to have a baby when it's our time, So fast forward to December 10th. My dad had passed away on December 6th. And, I was obviously completely out of sorts. Like, I just was not, I wasn't okay. But I was feeling super sick. Like, I was pretty positive I had strep throat. And I wanted to go to urgent care. That way I could get a steroid shot and get some antibiotics and just feel better. So I went to urgent care. They tested me for strep. I didn't have strep. I had pharyngitis. I wanted the steroid shot, and they were like, okay, if you're pregnant, we can't give you one. Is there any way you could be pregnant? And I was like, could be, like, let's just test it just to double check, because I just wouldn't want to take the risk, So she tested it. We waited like 10 minutes, and then she came back with this look on her face, and I was like, no way. And she was like, you're pregnant. It was like the wind got knocked out of me. Like, I was just so shocked. Not necessarily because, wow, this is so random, we didn't expect this, but like more so the timing of it was just really hard for me. And my dog's playing with her toys, so if you hear that, that's what that noise is. The timing of it was so, it just hurt. So she let us take the pregnancy test home, and when I got home, I took a pregnancy test, and you're supposed to wait like 3 to 5 minutes or something for the results to come up, and in like 50 seconds, the pregnancy test was positive. So I was like, this is real. This is real life. Like, I'm pregnant. So I started taking some prenatals, trying to do what I needed to do. That same day, I started getting a little bit of spotting, and it was very faint, like not anything much, but still I was like, I don't know if this is normal. So I called my OBGYN and just said, hey, I just found out I'm pregnant, and I just started getting some spotting. I just wanted to know, like, what I should do. Like, do I need to come in? Do I need to see the doctor? Like, what should I do? So they were like, okay, can you come in tomorrow morning? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, whatever. So I went in. So in the vaginal ultrasound, River's laying in my lap now. In the vaginal ultrasound, they seen that I was measuring more at 5 weeks, but I have a longer cycle, so that made sense, even though I was supposed to be like 6 weeks and 4 days at that point. it made sense, and they said everything seemed fine. They were able to see the yolk sac, but nothing inside of it, which at that point, at 5 weeks, I believe sometimes you can see and sometimes you can't. So they scheduled me for 2 weeks out to come back and do a follow-up, to monitor the spotting and all of this. And they found out my progesterone levels were low and called me later that day and told me that I needed to be taking a progesterone suppository. So that is also something that's inserted vaginally. Had to do that every night until I went back to the doctor, and I hated that, honestly. Like, it wasn't painful or anything, but it was more so just, I guess, kind of frustrating. Anyways, so as the time went on, the spotting got heavier, but I was told by my doctor and my nurses and other people that if it wasn't like pouring out of me, the blood, and if I wasn't in excruciating pain, that there was no need to call the doctor, no need to come in. And so neither of those things ever happened. I was having to wear like panty liners, and then as it progressed, I switched to a pad. As far as symptoms, I had a good bit of fatigue, obviously, but part of that I do think was from exhaustion from losing my dad, being in the hospital with him for a few days. And then when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, maybe this is why. I did have some food aversion at first, but also I think that is from losing my dad too. So a lot of it could have just been like all running together, which kind of sucked because I don't know which was which. But the main pregnancy symptom that I had was when I brushed my teeth, I would gag and almost throw up. I never actually threw up like morning sickness or all day sickness or anything like that. I think looking back on the lack of symptoms, I think that could have been a sign that something definitely wasn't right, along with the spotting. But anyway, so we went in for our the 7-week appointment. At that point, I believe I was like 7 weeks, 6 days, like about to be 8 weeks, or should have been. And so we went in. I think they took my blood work again to check it, and they did another vaginal ultrasound. And I have been told before that like the ultrasound techs can't really talk to you as far as telling you if there is a baby there, if there's a heartbeat, if anything like that, and you have to wait for your doctor. So when I laid down on the table to get my ultrasound, I was just laying there, and he was like sitting beside me holding my hand. She was doing the ultrasound, taking a bunch of measurements, clicking a bunch of buttons. After about, look at this sweet girl. After about 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes of her like going around checking things, I said, am I allowed to ask you a question? And she was like, sure, because I kind of told her, I was like, I know that y'all aren't necessarily supposed to like answer, certain questions, but we have been we've kind of been worried about a miscarriage. She says, what did you see when you were here last time? Like, what did they see? And I said, they said that there was a sac, but no baby had formed yet. And then she said, okay, I'm not seeing anything at all. There's nothing here. So, like, whatever had been there was now no longer there. And so, we didn't really say anything, it wasn't like awkward silence or anything, but I was just like, okay, and I think she said, you can ask your doctor any other questions. She'll call you back in a little bit. You can get dressed. So we had to go back to the waiting room, sit there, and Cole was like reading a golf magazine or something. And this is something that we had kind of expected was coming, but Anyway, so I'm trying to keep it together, and I start to tear up a little bit, and then I just like quickly like pull it together. So we go back into the doctor's room, I don't know where they put you. She comes in and she basically explains to me that, you know, I have had a miscarriage, that whatever was there isn't there anymore. And then I asked her, because in the 2 weeks from the time that I had been there first and now, obviously I'm doing a bunch of research, like about what happens when you have a miscarriage, like different kinds and everything. So I asked her, I was like, do you think that from then to now, a baby never formed, period, and it was just the sac, and then the sac passed? And she said, yeah, I think that's what happened. So, in looking up different kinds of miscarriages, that what I believe I had was a blighted ovum. I'll put a picture with the definition right here. So that was, to me, I think when things like this happen, I think we do what we have to do to cope. And, you know, I think it helped us that there had never been a baby there in the first place. So pretty much my body was preparing to be pregnant and to carry a baby, and the baby just never came. So, you know, she was like, it's good news. You can get pregnant, and there's no reason that you have to wait. You know, if y'all want to try again, that's definitely fine. I think due to losing my dad right before that, like I told the doctor, I was like, I feel like I'm not as upset as I should be, but I just don't think that I have it in me to be heartbroken all over again right now so soon. And she was like, that's completely normal, you know. And something I learned through losing my dad is that people grieve in different ways. I'm a Christian, and I believe that everything happens for a reason and happens the way it's supposed to. But I still have not figured out exactly why both of those really hard, horrible things happened to me at the same time in the same month. I've moved forward. I'm, you know, doing what I can. I have a husband who loves me. I have a dog who loves me too. And we're, you know, we're happy. We've moved apartments since then because our lease was up. So it's kind of just like we closed that chapter and now we're on to a new one. I think a lot of people have miscarriages and don't talk about it. And that's a problem. You know, like, I think that for me, I have a really good support system, but what about the people who don't? It just, you know, makes me think about the young girls who maybe are teen moms and then have a miscarriage, and maybe they didn't tell anybody they were pregnant in the first place, and now they've lost their baby and they just have all these feelings that they don't know how to deal with. I think that we need to have better resources. If anything, I just think that we as women and we as human beings need to be more compassionate towards each other. You know, I know that walking down the street, living your everyday life, you're not going to know everybody's story, but like, let's just be a little kinder. I just think that I learned a lot from the experience. I learned that I'm much stronger than I knew I was. You just do what you have to do, and you know, find peace in your family and God in whatever you believe in. So that's my story. I probably should have like sat down and wrote down the points that I wanted to talk about, but I just like to be like, I just like to wing it, to be completely honest. I wanted it to come from my heart. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.